Australia is right now in the grips of an obesity crisis, with 4 in 5 older adults overweight or obese. It's thrown our top doctors into one of their biggest challenges in years.
So should they agree to subsidise the new generation of weight loss drugs like Mounjaro and Ozempic for Australians struggling with their weight? For more, we're joined this morning by Dr Giles Yeo, Professor of Genetics at University of Cambridge. Doctor, thank you for joining us this morning. What are your thoughts on the push to subsidise these weight loss drugs? We know it's already happened in the UK, I understand. Do you think there is any positives for it being done here in Australia?
I think, look, this is positive news. I still think it's not going to be enough. Like here in the UK, for example, it is actually being subsidised on the NHS, our national healthcare system. But 95% of the people taking it in this country are still doing it privately. So I think it is a powerful drug to treat obesity. This is what we're talking about. But I get the feeling we're still not going to get enough out there yet.
What we're seeing is a drug like Wegovy that is subsidised for Australians with obesity if they've got if they've had a stroke or a heart attack, and we're seeing those who aren't eligible for drugs like that having to pay so much money to get hold of them. Is there an issue with equity, or should it just be people who really need it who get access to it?
I think there's a huge issue with equity at the moment because look, they are expensive, but they're not that expensive. So we'll need to see if the prices will come down with new drugs coming on the market, oral versions of the drugs coming on the market. But these drugs need to get to people who need them. And I just want to be clear, these drugs are not cosmetic drugs. There are too many people taking it to try and get into their bikini, to try and fit into the dress. This is not what these drugs are for. These drugs are to treat obesity, and obesity leading to a number of other diseases. So it's a drug. It's not a cosmetic tool.
Doctor, I'm glad you've raised that point because we have seen some people use it for cosmetic reasons, and that may play into the equity issue that it's not getting to the people that need it. But there are people that suffer from really serious obesity, and these drugs are life-changing and life-saving.
They're life-changing and life-saving because the moment you reduce obesity, you reduce risks for a whole host of other diseases, right? Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, certain cancers, even Alzheimer's. So if you are able to take care of obesity, and look, 1 in 4 people in the UK, same numbers as in Australia, have obesity. And the biggest killers are type 2 diabetes, heart disease, certain cancers. If you reduce obesity, you reduce the cost to the nation of all these other diseases that kill you.
And Doctor, we're seeing the World Health Organization backing these medications for long-term treatments for obesity. Do they work for everybody, and are we still worried about side effects?
So they work for the vast majority of people, but I would say 5 to 10% of people still don't respond to these drugs. We don't know why. We're going to have to figure that out. In terms of side effects, at the moment, the more common side effects affect the GI tract. So in other words, you might feel a bit pukey. It affects the other end of the tube. And I would grade it under discomfort as opposed to danger. Now, we do have to keep our eyes open because as more and more millions of people take it, then there are going to be rare side effects, which might be more serious, emerging. And we just need to make sure that we mitigate against that and we try and predict who might actually get those side effects.
Doctor, there's growing evidence now that people that have started taking these weight loss drugs, when they stop taking it, they actually put the weight back on. Is this something, if you do live with obesity, that you have to look as a long-term medication that you need to take?
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, the analogy I would use is high blood pressure medication. I mean, a lot of your viewers will be on high blood pressure medication. And when you're on high blood pressure medication, your blood pressure is normal. No one says, stop taking the pills now, because it's normal. Because the moment you stop, your blood pressure will then go back up. The same thing is going to be true for these drugs. Now, I don't think that the weight maintenance stage is going to look like the weight loss stage. All the drug companies are now testing lower doses, greater distances between the dosing, and maybe even the pill versions of these drugs. So I think over the next year, we will learn a lot more about what happens when people lose the weight and how we will actually try and dose to keep people's weight off.
I reckon it's been a big talking point at Christmas dinner tables around the country. We would call it here in Australia a barbecue stopper, Dr. Giles. It's one that gets everyone talking. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.